Hey guys, I literally feel like it's been a lot longer than a day since the last time I shared with you. I really feel like in the last 24 hours or however long it's been since I posted a video that there's been like 4 different versions of me in between then and now. And this current version just had so much exuberance and enthusiasm to share with you I have actually 0% basically idea of what to share, but there was just all this like energy in my meditation this morning flowing up that I just wanted to share. I guess you could just say love, share energy. Yeah, and it's always scary to push play on a video when I really don't have a coherent sort of outline in my mind's eye, and how those days when I do it, it just kind of works with it, the videos flow from like one, I'm just like really excited about one idea and then they kind of build out from there. But when you're just excited and you're not even sure what the video is going to be, you know, it can be scary to push play. But I just was like, I'm just going to push play. I'm just going to let this energy, express however it wants to. And I've been doing this new thing where I get out of my own way, meaning I just sit down and I've made this kind of inner kind of like commitment with myself where I'm just gonna push play and I'm not gonna pause it in the middle and restart. I'm not gonna do all of those perfectionist type of things. I'm just gonna share, and whatever comes through, I'm just gonna post that one take. And it's been so much of a relief for my heart, for my nervous system, for my inner child, for all these parts of me that aren't concerned with an outcome or results or viewer engagement or how it looks and flows. And these parts are just like, I don't know, we just want to play. If something comes through and it's super coherent and channeled and it has a really big impact, perfect. But if it's just as perfect if for all of these parts of me, these like pure parts of me, it's just as perfect if the video is like whatever the labels my inner critic would say, just kind of all over the place, not as focused, not really talking about much in particular. And so I've really been embracing being prolific instead of perfect. And it's just been nice because it's like I'm not getting in the way of the flow of energy anymore because, I'm judging how that was looking. And I think maybe over time there can be a nice balance, right, of editing and just letting things be as they are. But for me right now, it just feels so healing to just give myself the permission to just push play and we're not gonna, and knowing beforehand, hey, we're not pausing this, we're not stopping this thing, we're not restarting, you know. It's just so healing that I'm letting myself just kind of be free in that way. Like, hey, it doesn't matter what the views are when we look the next day. It doesn't matter what the engagement is, if we got new subscribers or lost subscribers, whatever. It's like, no, we're just letting life flow through us and we're not being the judge of how that looks. And that's just so liberating. And it's like, because I'm doing that, I'm allowing myself to be more prolific, more consistent with the output. And that's actually what feels really good to me, is being able to have the energy to do that. Because when I'm in perfectionist mode, you know, and I'm restarting videos or saying, oh, that's not good enough, I can't post that, maybe I do get a finished product that my inner critic or inner judge is like, ooh, that's whatever, better or more polished. But what comes with that is I've just drained myself of so much life force to get there, and it kind of feels depleting, and and I'm, like I said, I'm getting in the way of the flow of life. Because that's what I mean by getting out of the way. I'm just getting out of my own way more. I'm not, because that perfectionist streak, it can be a form of self-sabotage too. And oftentimes it does that because I just get so hard on myself. And like I said, maybe the video that I end up with is something that my inner critic approves of. But how much energy did I use kind of getting there? And in the end, I just kind of feel like, for the big picture, it's just really exhausting to really be a slave, or enslaved to that inner critic voice. You don't create as much. And it's almost like you put yourself in this prison where you're not as free to just kind of make mistakes and just kind of let things be as they're meant to be. Because that inner critic is so results driven. It's saying, hey, if you don't make a video this way, well, you're not going to get the engagement, therefore you're not going to get the support. And it just creates this kind of horror story, right? And then what it really does is it goes zoop to our creative energy. It's like zoop. And then we feel kind of trapped, like we have to be a certain way to share. But actually, that's not really what art is. Art is free. Art is flowing. Art is letting this moment decide how it should look and be, and just getting out of the way. And I've also like really untangled a lot of these self-imprisoned kind of beliefs around I got to show up in this state. Like how I'm sharing now, it's not about how I feel. It's not about what I'm going to get from it. As far as like views, likes, new subscribers, donations, all of that. It's deeper, and I think I shared about this like in several videos back. It's just like, I'm just actually staying with the current of life. And that, if there's a getting out of this, it's just, I'm getting to feel in the flow of beingness. I'm getting to feel liberated from my own inner fear programming type of voices that like to shut me down if it's not gonna whatever be how they think it should be to get approval and validation. It's like there's nothing, it's just a pureness. Like, and I notice when I'm shooting to get something, like in the past when I was like, I'm doing this to get something with like an end in mind. I'm not saying this is wrong, but I would notice it would just kind of take me into separation a little bit. And it would be more exhausting, and I'd have to try really hard, and there'd be a lot of efforting involved. And I might get the thing I was after. But I've had to realize over and over and over again that wasn't even the thing it's not satisfying. It's not a sustainable way to feel whole. Because then your next video has to be even better or something, and you have to be even in a better state the next time, and like that whole relationship with creativity and art. What I found is like when you're doing it to get something, when you're doing it for an end result or an outcome, it's like there's not as much God there as when you're just doing it because you love to fucking do it. And you're not concerned with how it's going to go over. You're not concerned with what people are going to say or the engagement or the result. This is because when you're doing it from this place, it's sustainable because you're not exerting so much energy. You're not leaving yourself. Because to get a result, sometimes you have to leave yourself and what's true, because you want to make it look a certain way to get a certain reaction or whatever, a certain type of outcome. And then always I would notice when I was doing that, like I said, it's not sustainable. I would burn out. It'd just be crash and burn. Because actually spirit isn't there with you as much. But when you're just doing it with no expectations, just because you love to do it, and you're just letting it be however it wants to be. Maybe it's messy. Maybe it's all over the place. Maybe it's like the perfect channeled message. That can happen. That can happen too. There's something very sustainable about it because you're right with spirit. You're not abandoning, staying right with what is, because you're not trying to manipulate anything to get anything in return anymore. That's the exhausting part. You're not like, that performing part is like dissolving. So then you're just life. And life, like this kind of energy, when you're in it, it's endless. It's infinite. But when we're in the personality trying to create from there so we can get something out of it, so we can look a certain way, so people can have a certain reaction or whatever, it's like you're in the personality structure, you're in the construct. I'm not even making that wrong or bad. I'm not even saying that there's not a place for that on the evolutionary steps when we're creating. There's no judgment about it. I'm just sharing like what my inner progression has felt like and what my direct experience of this stuff is, making hundreds and hundreds of videos that I have. And getting free enough to just fucking push play and say, whatever. It's all God. You can't do it wrong. If it's, you know what I mean? Like if you're excited to do it, you're not gonna do it wrong. It's impossible. Yeah, it's just more like you letting life live you. It's like you can look at dance too. When do you feel the most, alive dancing? When do you impress yourself when you're dancing? It's like when life is living you, when you're just letting life lead, when you're letting the divine lead. At least that's been my experience. When I find myself dancing and I'm just like, whoa, I didn't even know I had this rhythm. I didn't even know I can move like this. It's because the mind has gotten out of the way. All my judgments about how I look moving have evaporated in those moments. And I think that's what I'm experiencing with the videos more and more. And that's exciting to me. It's like all the judgments are starting to evaporate. And it's like so, my heart just feels so good about like, fuck, I get to just show up and just blah, blah, like do whatever. It's just like my whole being, the nervous system would get so taxed. my poor nervous system, when I'm just like 2 minutes in, I'm like, that sucks, and restart. And then do that over and over again, It's like my poor nervous system was just like, I'm tired. Why wasn't the first one good enough? And the first take is always like, I want to say, the realest, the most alive in a sense. And so, yeah, I'm just feeling this liberation of like, oh my God, it just feels so good just to be me, and whatever me is in this moment, that's what I want to share. That's what I'm going to allow to come through. Sometimes so much prana comes through, I just like, whatever, I just like spit. Oh, that's funny. Yeah, it felt good to share, just to show up and let the divine be the divine here in beautiful Utah. First and foremost, thank you for being here. I so much appreciate you just witnessing this journey. So yeah, it means a lot. And if this content brings you value and supports your journey in some way, and you'd like to make a financial contribution to support my journey, those are always super heart-opening, and I really appreciate those so much. So I've left a donation link in the description box. And there's also, I'm just feeling like an overwhelming sense of gratitude and love coming through right now. Yeah, and also there's links to book sessions with me. I put a new Patreon offering on the Patreon platform, the Sri Anandamaya Ma offering. You might want to check that out. Yeah, sorry, I just like feeling so much love and I don't know, pureness or goodness. Yeah, it's just really nice to be in that. Yeah, thank you so much. May peace be with you all. Namaste.